our player, or is it going to be players of the game? I think once again, on a night like tonight especially, we're looking at maybe more than one.
Well, I don't know. I think it was, to me, it was sort of by committee with the running backs tonight. I mean, they look good on their runs, but I'm gonna go another direction. I'm gonna go with two sets: the offensive line and the defensive front, simply because they just dominated. They just simply dominated the line of scrimmage. I mean, they opened up holes wide enough for, again, like I said, for me to run through. And I just thought they did a tremendous job offensively, blocking up front, pass blocking, run blocking, and also defensively, they just simply did not allow them to run the football. And there was so much pressure offensively. You got intentional groundings. You had a quarterback throwing the ball out of bounds. Must have thrown at least half a dozen passes away simply for that reason.
And from the defensive side, I'm going to tell you, I agree with you that the defensive line did a very dominating job, but the fact that this defense plays man-to-man defense and that defensive backfield is able to stay with receivers that allows so many people to rush that they can get in the backfield. So, I mean, it's hard not. You didn't get to see a lot of it tonight, but just because of the coverages they had, the defensive line and linebackers were able to blitz and rush that way. So you got to give those guys credit too. So I kind of look at it maybe as the defense as a whole. Even though this is a struggling offensive team, that defensive unit plays 11-man strong. So if you're going to go with the defensive line, you've got to include that defensive backfield as well, in my opinion.
All right, now that's not the direction you were going when we came back from
no,
break.
actually, you're right.
Now.
Coming back from break, I went with a kid called Warren Sign Kearney, the three-headed monster at running back. I mean, we didn't even use Grantham tonight, but all three of those kids had phenomenal nights. I believe all three of them had 2 touchdowns, at least 2 touchdowns. I mean, those three did have a phenomenal, but I got to tell you, I'm supposed to respect my elders. So, and Vic made a very good point with the line. So, I'm going to leave it up to him tonight to decide.
Well, there it is then. It's going to be those guys up front because Vic liked the way that they played, and obviously they played well for Martinsburg to dominate the way that they did. It started up front on both sides of the football. Honorable mention to the three-headed monster at running back as they all three really carried the football well. So they are our players of the game. All right, what is next for the Washington Patriots? Well, they will host Frankfort next week before a bye. Then they're at Musselman, home against Hampshire, and then at Jefferson to close out the regular season. They are now 0-6 on the year. Meanwhile, Martinsburg 6-0 will have another undefeated matchup next week. Last week, they went on the road undefeated. 2 teams, 4-0. Martinsburg gets the win at Academy Park up in Pennsylvania. Next week, it's 5-0 Sharando on a bye this week. I imagine someone was here watching this one. They will come to Coburn Field, and next week should be a fun one.
I don't know if you caught the coach's comment, but he said that he feels like that this is the best Sharando team that he's seen. So that and the fact that the team last year came down to a field goal at the end of the game to win it on the road. If they're better than that team last year, this is going to be a whale of a matchup.
31-28 was that final last year as the field goal up and good for Lucas Stuffy with 7 seconds left in that game. I still remember the nasty hot dog that he attributed that made field goal to in your post-game comments. We'll see if it goes that route again and whether Chris Catlett eats those crummy hot dogs. Maybe he can hit that game winner. We will see. But certainly this is a fun game. I mean, again, 2 very well-coached teams, 2 very disciplined teams, 2 very evenly matched teams throughout the years. This has traditionally been a very fun game, and we look for it to be a good one next week.
Well, I think it will be. I think it'll be another one of those Donnybrooks that people just want to come to see. And if you got a chance to come see a high school football game, this is the one that you want to come to see next week. It's going to be 2 high-flying teams,
yep.
and somewhere along the line, somebody's going to get stopped in this ball game next week. And hopefully it's not Martinsburg, but somebody's got to get stopped, and somebody's going to win it, and somebody's going to go home, with their, jaw hanging down, one
Yeah.
or the other. And but one good thing about it is both of these teams, it's not, I don't think it's going to stop them from game 7 on the rest of the season. I think they'll probably win the rest of those anyway.
They're going to gain experience that's going to help them come playoff time, because both of these are playoff caliber teams, no matter who comes out with a win or a loss.
Yes.
You know, you hear the athletic director side of Coach Walker say, hey, this is going to be a huge ticket. I tell you, you know, and one of the things, you know, we've talked about it, going to Sharando, it's a natural grass field.
Yeah.
You come here, you're coming to Martinsburg, you're playing on turf. So, you know, last year down there on their natural grass field, Martinsburg at times struggled with it a little bit. So now they've got to come back and play on Martinsburg's turf. So it's going to be a great matchup. It really is. Can't wait to watch it.
Yep, kickoff next Friday, 7 o'clock. Our pregame begins at 6. Miller time, live from Coburn Field, will be at 5 o'clock. All right, that does it for us from here at Marcus Stadium on the campus of Washington High School. But don't go away. Matt Crawford standing by with our Extra Point post-game scoreboard show. Thanks to each of our sponsors supporting our coverage of high school football. Thank you for joining us. Thanks as well going out to both athletic directors and head coaches, providing information and interviews for our broadcast here this evening, along with Jason Colrick and Vic Holmes, and Chip Rittenhouse running the camera for our WRNR TV on YouTube, and as well for cable Channel 10. Thanks as well to Matt Crawford at the studio, and he's got more in just a moment. Our final tonight, Martinsburg 67 and Washington nothing. Until next week. So long, everyone.